Yes, welcome along to What a Shout in association with Bet365 with David Jennings. And have I got a top tipping team in store for you? Yes, we have the two men who knocked it out of the park yesterday. We've got Mr. Imperial Aura himself, Paul Kealy, and Bruce Millington with three fantastic winners yesterday, which included Put the Kettle On. Keels, we have to come to you first. Be as smug as you like. The floor is yours. Imperial Aura. 3 months I've been listening to you banging on about Imperial Aura.
It's probably only 2, to be fair. Probably only 2. Yeah, I saw him. Actually, I saw him as a horse to follow when he won at when he was third over hurdles at Chepstow in October, because he just went miles too hard and still hung on, and all the others that ran out with him early on, they just faded away. So I thought he's a horse to watch.
Right. Tell me what it was like in those last 100 yards.
I really thought it was just all straightforward. I mean, I gave him a shout, honestly.
The heart pounding was...
No, not really, no. I just thought it was straightforward. From the time he took it up, he's just won now, hasn't he?
5 figures?
Not quite.
But it was funny, DJ, on the way out, Keels and I were waiting for our lift in the car park, and people streaming out of the track, and so many people, Keels, thanks for that, fantastic, who do you fancy tomorrow? It was brilliant.
Hero, what a hero, and what a good day for you as well. Put the kettle on. That was inspired.
I was pleased with that, I must say. I was very, very pleased with that. I just did some form study last week, and I thought, hang on a sec, this can't be this big. And I did a preview with Aidan Coleman. I said, I fancy this, Put the Kettle on. He said, not sure. He didn't give me a lot of encouragement, but I stuck to my guns, and it came good.
And we were all beating the Benny drum, but you thought Honeysuckle was always too big of a price.
Yeah, it was just at the prices. You know, the ratings had a couple of pound behind Benny Dagier. I've got Honeysuckle as progressive and Benny Dagier as 9, either static or slightly regressive. So I just thought if you were getting upwards of 3 to 1, it's just the wrong price, and it worked out brilliant. Rachel Blackmore was fantastic.
Fantastic. And finally on yesterday, Epatante, a good, very good, or brilliant champion hurdle winner.
I'd say good. I mean, the right, irrespective of the prices, the right horse was probably second. Charger was the highest rated horse in the race and ran really well. Probably on ground he doesn't quite like, but you can't say he doesn't handle it anymore.
No better than good. I think Honeysuckle or Benny would have won it.
Okay, interesting. But you don't want to know what happened yesterday. You want to know what's going to happen today. And we kick off with the Ballymore Novices Hurdle at 1:30. And Envoy Alain is the hot odds-on favourite after the cracking run from Abacadabras in yesterday's Supreme. Will favourite backers get off to win and start, Keels?
Can't say I'm sure. I mean, remember what Gordon Elliott was saying at the end of last week? If the ground is soft or heavy, we may well go for the Supreme. I'm not convinced that he wants this distance on really bad ground at this stage of his career. And what did we have yesterday? We had ground far softer than anybody could imagine. It will have dried out a bit, but it's going to be a test today. I didn't think he hit the line particularly well. He didn't hit the line hard at all last time, did he? On his step up to 2.5 miles, he's got another furlong to go. And some decent, progressive, unexposed horses against him. I'm in the mind of taking him on. I actually thought he, because of the state of the ground, he might drift, but he actually got shorter. And now he's proper odds on shot. I think there's, obviously Sam Crow was odds on when he won it a couple of years ago. I think he's the only odds on winner of it. Well, I just have to take him on. The two getaway horses, the big breakaway, the big getaway. They're both decent and look like they got more to come. But I just like to look at Longhouse Poet. You just have to think that he made his debut last May, which was after Envoy Allen had won the champion bumper, and he was only 7 lengths behind Envoy Allen on like his third start over hurdles, and staying on late.
It's a long way though, 7 lengths.
Yeah, it is true, staying on late, but then he ran again at the Dublin Racing Festival, and he was too keen for his own good off a slow gallop, but he still got to the final flight in front, going well, and I just wonder if they get a decent gallop here and he can settle. I'd make him a big danger. He's 16 to 1. I think he's a cracking each way bet.
What a way to start the show. An each way poke at 16 to 1 from Paul Kealy. Bruce, who are you rolling in with here?
Well, I mean, all winter, well, not all winter, but last month or so, every single Shruti in the land has been queuing up to say why Envoy Allen's a terrible price. That kind of makes me want to side with him. But I looked at the prices last night and I couldn't believe it. As Kill said, he's gone even shorter. He's odds on now, and I think you have to take him on. it's not particularly exciting, but I think Sporting John is very, very promising, and I'll have a lick with him. But it's a hard race. I mean, I kind of want Envoy Allen to be an absolute superstar, but there might be another horse that comes through and is a star. So Envoy Allen, best horse in the race, too short for me. I'm going to have a small bet on Sporting John.
Now, moving on to the 210, it is the RSA Chase, and I have a feeling myself and Bruce Millington are going to have a right old Barney here. Bruce, I fancy Champ. I don't think he's as bad a jumper as you think he is. I think 7-2 is very, very fair. I think he's the best horse in the race. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, I would agree he's the best horse in the race, but I just can't have his jumping around here. And this is as big a jumping test as you're going to get in racing.
Because you've been saying this, I went back and watched his jumping display at Cheltenham last night. I didn't think he jumped bad at all. I really didn't. Well, maybe we're different
okay, look, I mean, obviously the jump that did for him was just ridiculous. It was
obviously
like an invisible fence had suddenly appeared. But I thought the rest of it wasn't disastrous, but it was just scruffy. I mean, there's going to be no hiding place out there today. I just think you're going to have to put in a great round, because I think this is another obviously fantastic edition of the race. So I'll take him on. I mean, he has obviously drifted. He's barely favourite now. I think Manila Indo heads the market. Copperhead, I talked about not letting a jockey talk me out of it with Put the Kettle On. But Robbie Power picking Slate House over Copperhead does concern me. But I think I'm going to stick to my guns, because, you know, these choices for jockeys are difficult. They're not just, the fact that he's gone for Slate House is not necessarily clear cut. And even if that's his view, it doesn't make it right. He's great at riding horses. He might not be great at picking them. So I'm going to go with Copperhead. This is a tricky day, and I'm not max confidence about anything except the favourite in the cross country. But I'll stick with Copperhead, and I will be placed lane champ.
Excellent. Keels?
I was like, would Robbie Power have had the choice?
Well, he told me he did.
He had the choice.
I think Slate House worked last week and worked brilliantly.
Absolute guaranteed non-stayer at that trip. I mean, that's what surprises me. So yeah, then you'd have to worry a little bit about choosing Copperhead. I mean, I don't know whether he's, you know, could he not be working well, because he ran at Ascot. I mean, that is very close. I mean, years ago, the Reynoldsdown was a terrible guide for winners for the RSA, because it used to get really, really bottomless, miles worse than it is now. So that's interesting. Now, earlier on in last week or so, I was telling people that I thought Manila Indo was slow. I have a feeling it might be the only one that truly stays, right? Because that ground was really deep yesterday. Champ, I'm with the pair of you with his jumping, to be honest. When he gets them right,
well, we disagreed with each other.
Yeah, I know, but this is the whole point.
Is there a good jumper and bad jumper?
But when he gets them right, he's a good jumper, but he doesn't know what to do when he meets them wrong, and that's the problem.
But might he now, because he finds out what happens when he gets one wrong?
He might know. He just looks like a bit of a loon to me, and that they just, you know, meet him right and just goes through it, because he's not scared. It doesn't scare him.
He might be scared now.
That
though.
one might, and that one needed to scare him for me. I said ages ago I think Copperhead would win whatever he ran in, so I'm gonna stick with him. A little bit worried about the Robbie Power thing. I don't know what on earth he's doing choosing Slate House, because that cannot possibly get home with the trip.
Okay, interesting. 2 votes for Copperhead and 1 for Champ. Moving on to the 250, and it is a fiercely competitive renewal of the Coral Cup. And Keels, we'll start with you here. We saw yesterday with Imperial Aura, you are the king of the big handicap. So have you found the winner of this?
I like 2 of Nicky Henderson's horses in the race. He's won the race 3 times in the last 9 years. Pretty good record when you consider it's a 26-runner handicap. He's got Damned Company, who is favourite now. Was a bigger price last week, but I think it's understandable. She was 5th in the Greatwood on her return, and she was a massive eye catcher at that 2-mile trip. And then she came out and she bolted up next time over 2.5. And the runner-up won a listed race at Warwick after that. I mean, Damned Company was put up £8 originally. She went up another £2 for that. McManus and Henderson appealed against it, got the £2 taken back off. So she runs off a mark of 140. I think she has to go close. But Burrows Edge interests me as well. I mean, he won the Lanzarote the other day. Some people might think he was lucky. I thought he was lucky at the time, because I backed the thing that was 3 lengths clear and unseated at the last. But the more I look at it, the more I think he might have won anyway, because he was really running hard to the line. And, the thing about him was he wasn't in the race. He wasn't going well at any stage in the race. And they've stuck cheek pieces on there. If they sharpen him up, given how hard he hit the line at Kempton, he's got to go close too.
This is unbelievable. I got really excited there. Keel said he fancied 2 of Nicky Henderson's horses. And you know what I fancy? The other one. I'm a Birchdale fan.
What, ground?
Yeah, the ground is obviously a little bit of concern. He's rated 146. I think he will end up being a Grade 1 chaser. I just think he's a 155 horse, so if things go his way, the big field is a worry, but Birchdale for me. Bruce?
Well, I mean, the very fact that they bothered appealing Dame de Compiègne kind of tells you in itself it's a big tip. But JP, who obviously won the champion hurdle yesterday, was brought into Alpha Mix, and I like this horse for Gavin Cromwell. I think he's decent. It's such a hard race. I mean, there's no. I don't see how anyone can have a strong view on this. It's a race to chuck a couple of quid out and hit and hope. And I'm going to go for Alpha Mix.
So it's Alpha Mix, Birchdale for me, and it is Damn the Company and Burrow's Edge for Paul Kealy. So moving on to the big one, it's at 3:30. It is the Queen Mother Champion Chase. We thought it was going to be 3 of the best 2-mile chasers of the modern era. We've only got 2 of them, and it is Chacun Persois against Defi Desoy. What a showdown we have in Prospect, Paul. I know it's disappointing Altiorus in here, but it's great that these two are going to make it a real race.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a crying shame that he's not here, but this is a genuine matchup. 2 very, very good horses coming off the back of very, very good wins. So, it's fascinating. Personally, I think Chacun Persois should be fav. I really do. I mean, okay, he was disappointed when he made his return and lost to Aplutar, but a lot of Willie Mullins horses throughout the season have needed their first run, and that run at Leopardstown Racing Festival was really, really good. They went really, really hard that day, and he breezed past Min. Okay, he was a little bit tired at the end, but he was entitled to be. And a lot of people keep saying to me, "Well, what about the hill at Cheltenham?" And they forget that it's 2 miles at Cheltenham and it's 2 mile one at Leopardstown. There's no way the trip here is more tested than it is at Leopardstown. It can't be. So he's got no problem with that. I think he's a very fast horse. He obviously slammed Defi Desoy at Punchestown last year. People saying, "Well, Defi Desoy, he'd had a long season. He'd won at Cheltenham." But on Racing Post ratings, we made that Defi's best run of his career at the time. Now he's improved, unbeaten in 2 miles this season. Very good horse, but I think Chacun has a little bit of that X factor.
It's very interesting that Paul Townend holds Chacun Persois in a completely different league to Min, who's a very solid horse, and he thinks there is no comparison.
Solid horse. Got a Racing Post rating of 180 last year. Well, and if Chacun Persois is only at 180, he will win. You know what I mean? And if he's better than that, if he's better than Min, at his best, then, he'll win easily.
Bruce, have you a strong opinion here?
Well, I mean, first of all, I'd start to say, obviously, it's such a shame we're not having the 3-way clash. But I was thinking about this, unless I've missed something, we've actually done quite well in the last month. We normally lose a few more than we have done, So, I guess, it like I say, I mean, the Altior connections must be absolutely pig sick, and I think all racing fans are sick. But we'll focus on what we've got, which is a fantastic clash and a rematch, obviously, from Punchestown. And when you look at it all and you pick it apart, you've got to have a very good reason for believing Defi can make up that 7 lengths. And I don't have fatigue as a sufficiently good reason. I didn't think I'd be tipping Chacun Persois, but I am now, just for the simple reason that if he beats him, people are going to look back at that run and say, well, the writing was on the wall there. I know it's slightly more complex than that, but given that he's slight outsider, I'm just about going to go with Chacun. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it'll be a fantastic race anyway. And over to you to tell us why Defi will prove us wrong.
I was really, really confident coming in here. And now the 2 hottest tipsters in the business have gone for Chacun Persois. Look, I'm a massive Defi fan. I think he's the one that's done it perfectly this season and gradually made that improvement. And I didn't think he got enough credit for beating On The Soul the way he did. I know they didn't go fast enough, but at the start of the season we were wondering if Defi Desoy had enough pace for 2 miles. Now all of a sudden we're saying he's the fastest horse in the race. So I think he's versatile. He loves Cheltenham, and he's just a little bit more battle-hardened, I think, than Chacun Persois. He's short now, but I still think he's the most likely winner. So there you go, folks. I'm probably going to be wrong now after what you did yesterday. But there you go. 2 votes for Chacun Persois and 1 for Defi Desoy. That is the champion chase. Moving on to the 4:10. And it is the legend himself, Tiger Roll, in action in the cross-country chase as he attempts to win at a 5th Cheltenham Festival. He's chasing a cross-country hat-trick. And Bruce Millington, can he do it?
Yeah, I mean, I just think he will. I'd far rather back him at the prices than Envoy Allen at even shorter. This is one of the most incredible CVs any racehorse has ever had. Triumph Hurdle, 2 nationals, cross countries, 4 milers. He's just an unbelievable animal. And he's still, what is he, 9 now, isn't he? He's
10.
Okay, he's only 10. I mean, he's just an absolute miracle horse. Easy's Land obviously comes over with a reputation and a bit of form, but I just think the way that Tiger Roll absolutely swatted him aside last year. unless there's something wrong with him, which there's no reason whatsoever to think there is, I think he'll win it. And not only would I back him at the prices, I'd also look to see if I can take an enhanced price on him winning by a particular distance.
Excellent. Would you back him? You would back him at 4 to 5, 10 to 11?
I've last night, driving back from the course, I had a very big double on Tiger Roll and Paisley Park. It pays nearly 9 to 4, and it just looks a bomb-proof bet.
You did pull in to do the bet, though, did you? You weren't driving at the time. You pulled in.
I wasn't. I was a passenger. They have these seats as well as the driver. They have these other seats.
Well, you did say driving back from.
Okay, fair enough.
So in my defence,
you're being very picky. There.
Yeah, I was being very picky. Yeah, it's role reversal now today, Bruce. Keels, Tiger Roll. Are you a fan?
Oh, yeah, how can you not be a fan? I mean, look, when he was a 5-year-old, you would be looking at him at the end of his 5-year-old season and say, well, yeah, there he was, just another average winner of a bad triumph hurdle, wouldn't you? And then suddenly, he goes over fences, he wins a national hunt chase, he wins 2 Grand Nationals, 2 cross-country races. And the way he won the race last year, I mean, the form he was in last year, he'd have been in the first 4 in the Gold Cup. I've no doubt about that at all. And there's been lots of build-up with this youngster, Easy's Land, coming up. And, got this, there's only, there's one every start he's completed since November 2018 or something. But no horse has ever put up the sort of performance that Tiger Roll put up in the cross-country chase that he did last year. And he's going to have to, he's going to have to be a lot better than he has looked so far. The Tiger Roll, the Boyne Hurdle, that was a perfect comeback. Okay, he won the race last year, but he went into the race last year off a completely clear run, whereas he had a bit of a hold-up, didn't he? So that was used just to bring him on. Gordon Elliott told everybody then, I'd just be happy if he beats a couple of horses and shows a bit, what I mean? So he's going to be a hell of a lot fitter. Obviously, the big aim is Aintree. But he'll be ready, and he's just better than him.
The vibes I'm getting are that Gordon Elliott is that this race to him means just as much as the Grand National. He'll be cherry ripe for this, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think at the prices, I obviously think Tiger Roll is going to win. I think Argenta again will be placed again. He just doesn't quite see it out, but he'll travel into it and he'll be the last to show his hand. So I think he could be placed at a big price. So moving on to the 450, it is the Boodles Juvenile Handicap Hurdle, known as the Fred Winter, and I have to start here because this is obviously my banker of the entire meeting. I've been knocking on doors, I've been asking everybody I see, and I can't find one other person that fancies Aramax, but I'm sticking by him. I think he's the best handicapped horse in the race. I think he's the only potential graded performer running in a handicap, and off a mark of 138, I'll be bitterly disappointed if he isn't in the frame. But Paul, I can't find anybody else that fancies him.
Well, it's funny. I mean, I think you are responsible for making him fab. Because you've been going on for
God, there
so
are some
long,
bad judges out there.
But all the gossip around the Gordon Elliott horses for this Tronador, or every preview meeting you go, everybody was tipping it. Everybody from Ireland anyway. And I was looking at it and I thought, well, one thing you've got to do is ignore the gossip as best you can. You know what I mean? And I looked down.
I did that with Imperial Aura.
That wasn't gossip. That was just fact. I told you it'd win. It was. I was looking down and I thought, well, the one that interests me out of Gordon Elliott's is this Saint Deroux. Good, a fair 4th in Grade 3 company on his second start for Elliott. Okay, got beaten a maiden hurdle after that, but a good one. And then he won by 24 lengths last time, very easily. Handicapper didn't hit him that hard, and I think he jumps really well. He'll love the ground. He'll stay really well, and he's interesting. And the other one I backed is Theatre of War for Gavin Cromwell. That maiden hurdle that St. Deroux got beaten.
Bad news for you. There's a lot of whispers for that.
Yeah, Theatre of War beat. Theatre of War was ahead of St. Deroux and Tronador. They were both in the race. Tronador was 4th, St. Deroux was 5th, and Theatre of War was 2nd. And Gavin Cromwell, you've got to give this man credit. You know what I mean? He has a lot of winners in Ireland, and he's up against the likes of Elliott and Mullins every single day. He bought over Espoir Dallant with the champion hurdle last year. Bought Dava Starter, finished 3rd. This year, he's a proper operator without a shadow of a doubt. And he just put him away after that maiden hurdle. That's the interesting thing, because he's got the experience. They just put him away. He comes here after a couple of months off. I quite fancy him.
He's got a famous owner as well, Shane Lowry. The major winning Shane Lowry is part of syndicate that owns Theatre of War. Bruce, who wins the Boodles? Oh, that's some face.
No, I'll give you a horse, but I hate the race. I just don't have any confidence. You just don't know
Aramax.
how. Well, I mean, I hear you because you've done nothing but bellow that horse's name on
Hear
here.
me.
I thought maybe when he steps up to the big stage, Palladium might be the one. See what I've done there?
Yeah, I see what you
Good win at Sandown last time, ground agnostic. I think Hendo might have another winner there.
That's why you're usually sitting here. Yeah, excellent. And finally on the card at 5:30, we've got the Weatherby's Champion Bumper, and this is all about Appreciated, Paul.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I wouldn't be the biggest expert on bumpers, but you get all these horses running these bumpers here. There are very few crossing form lines. And there could be a superstar in a race that isn't appreciated. You know what I mean? Q-Card won at 40-1, for instance. But you know what I mean? And he was obviously by miles the best in the race. So that's the one thing we don't know. I mean, Appreciated has looked really good. I mean, on our Racing Post ratings figures, he's already a better horse than Envoy Allen was last year when he won this. So, you know, and he was very, very impressive at Leopardstown. Not sure, I think there was a couple in that Leopardstown race that didn't run to their form, which would worry me. I'd probably have a couple of quid each way in Israel Champ. Now, the Pipes have won this race twice. And Israel Champ, I thought he got away with setting steady fractions when he won on bad ground at Cheltenham in November. But then he came out and did it in a much better race at Ascot as well. Like, you know, and I thought, you know, I think the runner-up Soaring Glory, I think he's a very nice horse. And he beat him quite comfortably. So I'd give him a little bit of an each way shout.
So it's Israel Champ for Keels for Bruce Millington.
I mean, Appreciate it's got the form, but the price isn't appealing in this sort of race because there's a lot of unexposed types. There's going to be a lot of improvers. I'm happy to take the chance that at least one horse will improve past him. And I like the top one, Adramel, for Tom Lacey and Richard Johnson, if he's fit to ride. Decent last time, really good RPR. I just like the horse and I like the price, so I'm going to go with Adramel.
Yeah, nice big juicy price for Adramel. And I'm going to take a chance on Fernie Hollow, who's obviously not held in the same regard as Appreciated in the Mullins camp. But I was blown away at Ferrier. I thought he travelled beautifully into the race and he settled much better as well. I think he's learning all the time. So it's Fernie Hollow for me at a double figure price. So all that's left to do now is reveal our big calls. Yes, our banker on day 2 of the Cheltenham Festival. And I'll obviously set the ball rolling with Aramax in the 450. Paul Kealy.
I'm glad you said that because I thought you might go Deffy and then I'd have to go straight against you. I think Shaq and Persois will just win.
Shaq and Persois 330. Bruce?
Well, I'm going to go Tiger Roll. It's boring, but I just think he should be miles shorter. And like I say, that double with Paisley Park on Thursday, if it's going in at over 2-1, you tell me who beats either of them. I'm struggling.
Yeah, totally agree. There you go, Tiger Roll in the 410 for Bruce Millington. So that's it, folks. That's it for day 2 of the Cheltenham Festival. We hope you're a little bit wiser now. Don't forget, if you're having a bet, only bet what you can afford to lose. Gamble responsibly. I've been David Jennings. He's been Paul Kealy. That's been Bruce Millington. What a beautiful view here in Middle Stanley, in the heart of the Cotswolds. Have a terrific day.